Yo and hello everybody, Mike here, baseball collector, and it's Sunday night, and that means another episode of Beyond Cardboard. And we're live here on YouTube, and I got this guy next to me, JT, Triple Crown 24, YouTube Hall of Famer, class of 2020, right, JT?
Yes, sir.
So when we were kicking around the idea of doing this show tonight, and I told you who was going to be our guest, and what did you say to me?
I wanted to be the co-host because I was very excited for this one as a Beyond Cardboard super fan.
Yes, and so I was happy to. I talked to Mark. Mark was very agreeable. He said, "Sure, if JT's a big fan, let him do it." And so here we are. So JT, thanks for coming on the show, man.
And thank you for having me.
You bet. So I think a lot of people know who we're talking to. You've talked about it on your channel. I talked about it on my channel. It's being tweeted out in the Twitterverse and whatnot. But what do you? We're talking to Blake Jamieson tonight, Topps 2020 artist. Maybe tell everybody kind of what Topps 2020 is about and what you think about it.
Right. So Topps 2020 has kind of taken the hobby by storm here, really since the start of the spring. What Topps is doing is it's an online exclusive brand, so similar to your living set and things like that have been pretty popular in the past. And with this, they're taking 20 iconic cards throughout the years. So it starts all the way back in 52 through 2011 as a range of cards. And they're having 20 different artists that they brought in recreate each of those cards with their own little spin on them. And they're going to be releasing 2 a day, Monday through Friday, pretty much for the rest of the year. So 20 artists, 20 cards in the year 2020. It's essentially the bottom line for Project 2020.
Yeah, what are your thoughts about it so far?
I absolutely love it. It's when you have 20 different artists, you're going to get a lot of different interpretations for these cards. So if you go onto Topps's website right now, you can see the archive of past designs, and it's just really cool. And especially if you're someone who wants to collect all 20 of the cards of a specific artist, for example, our guest tonight, if you were to collect all of his, they all kind of have a similar underlying theme where if you have them all displayed together, they're going to look really nice. And I would say that applies for most of the artists as well. So I'm definitely looking forward to when someone has their first 20 out, seeing the whole thing together. It should be pretty exciting. It's something that just keeps gaining steam as time goes on.
Are you upset there's no Detroit Tigers in it?
You know, I'm going to be campaigning hard for a Miggy rookie in the Project 2021, but keep your fingers crossed on that one.
Yeah, it's the first few cards that came out, I was very skeptical is maybe not the right word. Certainly like, really another thing, Topps? Like, come on, man. There's enough crap out there. But the more, and I don't mean that like, well, I do mean it against Topps, but not in a like, okay, that's fine. It's not for me. But then I started seeing some of the cards, and then I saw our guest's first card, and I went, holy crap, that is so cool. And I was surprised that I thought it was cool. I didn't know I would feel that way. And so that was the Nolan Ryan card, is the first card that he released. And so, why are we talking about it? Shouldn't we get Blake on to talk about it?
I think it's time. Yeah, nobody wants to hear us.
He's a better guy to talk about this anyway. So, Blake, welcome to the show, man. What's up?
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
And that means a lot. The first card you got was the Nolan card. It was scary as an artist because I know that it got some mixed feedback at the beginning, and I was like, oh man, I hope my card does well. And I understand as an artist that not everyone's going to love my art, but growing up as a card collector, it was an important audience for me to impress. So that really just does mean a lot. And I love all the different artists for all different reasons that are part of the project, but it means so much to me that it's bringing people back into the hobby or getting people that are already in the hobby excited to collect my cards is incredible.
Well, I don't know where JT just went. I better.
Oh, sorry.
He decided to switch himself, I guess, in the order.
That's cool.
So the idea of mixing art and baseball cards is not new, right? It's back in the day, Topps painted all their cards. All their cards were painted up, through essentially 1956, more or less. 57 was the first photograph set. And then in the early 80s, as you saw Dick Perez, you watched my interview with him a couple of weeks ago, Diamond King started coming into play, and art has now become a part of cards more and more. I think it's becoming a very symbiotic thing because it's just a cool matching of mediums for me. I just think it's a great idea.
Yeah.
Because a photo is the real deal, right? It's a picture of that person. But when you allow someone else to interpret that idea, tell us how maybe, Blake, you got started with Topps 2020. How did they approach you? How did all that process get started at the beginning?
Sure. So I've been a full-time artist now for about 5 years. I didn't go to art school. Had no formal training. And in fact, I studied economics and then I worked in digital marketing for almost a decade after college. And that treated me really well and gave me some creative control and flexibility in ways to like kind of, express myself creatively, which is something I've always enjoyed doing. And on my 30th birthday, I decided that I wanted to quit my corporate job and pursue art full time. And it wasn't that long after I did that I met a guy who was an ex-NFL player, and now he manages other NFL athletes. And he really liked my work and my style, and he kind of brought me under his wing and helped introduce me to the sports art world, which is cool because like I grew up playing sports as well. So I started doing that and making that my exclusive focus almost 3 years ago now. And to date, I've painted about 400 professional athletes, most of them for the athletes themselves. But in general, like that work is pretty much a one-off. It's a one-of-one custom commission. They come to me, they say, I want to capture this moment in my career and make it into art. And I think it's partially like you talked about, like the photo captures the exact everything and exactly from that one lens. But like when you bring paint into the mix or you bring an artist in that's doing different things to the image, you can end up like pulling out like different emotions or different energies that might have, I hope like were present in that moment, but hard to capture in a photograph. And so that's been really fun for me because I love doing portraits. And so like athletes was just a natural fit for the style of art that I was doing. And then also, from a marketing background and a business building perspective, because art is a very serious business to me, it's like a perfect ideal customer because A, they have like a ton of badass photos online. So like there's so much to work with. B, they have the disposable income to pay for it. I don't sell my original work very cheaply. And, I like to value my art and like they can actually afford to pay for those prices. And then C, which is probably the most important thing, is like by nature, they're super competitive. And so when one guy gets a painting, the teammate sees it and then he's like, I want a bigger painting. I want 2 paintings. And so like I've got this like built-in like growth hack basically, so that like if I can get one guy on one team a painting, I know that I'm going to get a second guy a painting, and it's probably going to be a bigger painting. That's been insanely helpful for like growing the business from the business side of things. And also as a marketer, I know that like there's a lot of artists that say, oh, I make art for everyone. Or the flip side of that would be like, I make art of whatever I feel like, and it's up to you. You can like it or not. Like I just do this for the art. I'm definitely more on like the entrepreneurial, like this is my business. I make art to sell art so that I can keep making art. I get to do all the kinds of projects I want for myself and paint whatever I want because I'm over here selling to my market. And so having like a very specific niche market, which I landed in the sports world, was really, really cool for like my artist journey. So in terms of Topps approaching me, I actually, like I mentioned, most of my work is one-of-one. It's original and it's for the athlete themselves. And then that's it. I'm not doing prints of it. I'm not reproducing that painting again. It's just like one painting of a player for the player. I saw another artist who's actually very big in the sports art card, I don't know, whatever. He does a lot of baseball cards, Greg Krindler. His work is amazing. He does these oils on pretty small canvas boards, and he works a ton with Topps. And I had been following him for a long time, and I was seeing one of the projects that he was doing with Topps, and it just got me thinking that like Topps is like the ideal partner and brand to work with to like take my business to the next level, where I'm not just doing a one-of-one. I'm doing something that's, being licensed and mass produced. Maybe not mass produced. I don't know. It's a short print, but regardless, produce more than one of. And I had kind of put out into the universe, I wanted to work with Topps. I started reaching out to my contacts to see if I knew anyone that worked at Topps, and I came up completely dry. I had no intros. So I didn't really know what I was going to do. I just knew that's what I wanted to do. And then it was like the same week I got an email from this guy, Jeff Heckman, who is kind of heading the Topps Project 2020. And he said, "Hey, Blake, we've been following your art for a while and love what you're doing. We'd love to set up a phone call to talk to you about an upcoming project." And I'd say that was like 6 months ago. It was quite a while ago. And naturally, like, I was super excited, and I think the concept is great, and getting to like work alongside a bunch of other artists that I admire is like a dream come true. But I was like not allowed to talk about it for like months, right? Because they just announced it. I don't know how long it's been now, maybe a month or something that's been live. But like up until the project actually launched, I was not able to tell anyone about it. And so I was like, I had this secret, right, that I wanted to tell everyone. So it's been a really cool experience. I've also like connected with a lot of the other artists. So much fun to see what they're doing, because we're all working from the same reference cards, but we all come up with something like wildly different. And we also are like bonding over like, the opportunities in this card collector community. And for me, I think like I've had a really easy time, I guess, like sliding back into that, because like I said, I grew up collecting cards, and like Topps, like I think the 85 Mark McGwire Team USA card was my most prized possession. I would literally just like carry it around with me everywhere I went as a kid. And like I remember, going to A's games. I went to a lot of spring training when I lived in Florida. So like, I don't know, it's just so much fun. Like getting back into the hobby is awesome.
It's card number 401, by the way, in the 85 Top set, just so you know.
Impressive. Nice.
We only know that because one of the other guys in the community, his channel name is Topps 85 401, and he's a big Mark McGwire guy. And so,
yeah,
we've all had that card number burned into our brains by watching his channel.
Yep. So on that, actually, and I told people I was going to spill a little secret, and this will be one of them. That was my idol as a growing up, and that card specifically like meant a lot to me. So when I knew that Mark McGwire was going to be part of the set, I was like, couldn't wait to see the reference card. And, the 87's cool, but it's not to me, it's not the same as the 85 USA. I know that there were probably licensing issues or something on the back end. So what I'm going to do with my card is I'm going to, and fingers crossed that Topps approves it when I submit it, but I'm going to do a jersey swap. So it's going to be the same pose, where it's him from the back, but I'm going to put him in the red jersey, and I'm going to put number 42 on the back. And I think I'm even going to style the border like the other cards. So it'll be like the picture from the 87, but everything else is going to be like the 85. And I think it's going to blow everything out of the water. Like people are going to freak out because everyone knows that card, and it's just going to be so much fun. So hopefully, like I said, Topps has to approve all the art. So far, they've been really good and like really letting artists kind of do their thing. So I think that they will, but that's my plan.
So if you had this 6-month lead in from the time you kind of got figured out you were going to do this to release day, so to speak, how many of the paintings did you pre-paint, if any?
Well, I had 6-month lead in terms of knowledge about the project, but I didn't get my reference cards until, I don't know, a few weeks, maybe a month before the project started. I wasn't just like sitting and like painting in isolation in a vacuum, preparing cards. Like we had, the welcome kind of package and whatever, where they gave us all the cards that we're going to be painting from. And we've got the list of the other artists that were going to be involved. And we got the due dates for the first cards that we have. So like this first 6 cards, I knew which those ones were. And it was cool because Topps the corporate headquarters is here in New York, which is where my studio is that I'm in right now. So a couple guys from Topps came here to my studio, and they filmed me painting my first card, which was the Nolan Ryan card. And it was actually not until that day that they came that he showed me. One of the guys was like, "Hey, do you want to see what some of the other artists are doing?" And I was like, "Of course." And so like he had his phone, and so he showed me the Ermsey Trout, which is to date like one of my favorite cards in the set. I think that Ermsey is insanely talented, and that card just like blew me away. And so because like before that, they'd given me directions of like, try to stay true. I don't know. It was like vague kind of. It's like stay true to the original card, but be yourself and do you. Like we trust you, but don't change the team logos. But whatever. Like it's like kind of vague stuff. So like I had like a very like vanilla recreation of the Nolan Ryan card that I painted when they were here live, and then they showed me the Ermsey, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to step my game up. So like I scrapped that completely, and then I started over again. And so like the Nolan that you bought, your first Nolan, it took me 2 times to get that right, because the first time I was like I was playing it a little bit too safe. And now that I've seen what everyone else is doing, I know that like there's a lot of freedom and flexibility. So I guess to answer your question, like I had nothing done before the project started.
JT, you got a question?
Not yet, just enjoying it.
So I see the Jackie behind you, which is similar in style. Are you going to the Ryan? Are you going to kind of maintain that fluidity through the project for your cards?
Yeah. So it's important to me that I stay true to my own kind of artistic style. I like, and this is Ermsey's a great example. You see any card by him and you know it's him. You don't even have to guess. And I want to be in that same category. Like I want people to see my work and be like, that's a Blake Jamieson. So part of it is that. The other part of it is I know that the collectors are all going to display their sets in different ways. And some of the ways that people might collect is saying, okay, I'm going to collect all of a single artist. And then they're going to get a nice frame and they're going to have all 20 of my cards. So like, I want those to look nice together. But then also on top of that, like I want to like, pay tribute to the original card. So if you look at, the Jackie, that's right there. I'm always confused by like, cause I'm technically, whatever. If you look at the actual like card that went to print for Jackie, which was my last release, you'll see that there's more than just what you see here at the painting. I'm taking elements from the original card, the Jackie kind of nameplate with the star around it and the Dodger diamond. I'm taking those actual exact same elements, and it's fun to see like some artists are like, redrawing them by hand or doing completely different nameplates. Like Ben Baller's just going wild and doing awesome like bling, which I love his work also. But I'm taking all of those original elements. So like I'm trying to like balance it so that all the cards look good together, but also, they would look good if they were just displayed with the original card or, I guess in any other way people want to show them.
So there's a debate raging, and I know it was on your because you have a YouTube channel, by the way, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But on your live streams, which you're doing nightly, which are great, by the way, you're talking about, do I do the landscape cards? Because you've already started with portrait cards. Because the collectors, we're a funny bunch. We're kind of kooky, right? We like staying true to the original, but we also like symmetry and we like consistency. And so it's this weird dynamic that you have to navigate through, and that's got to be incredibly difficult for you because you're trying to cater to so many different people. I bet half the people that say no, do them all vertical, even the Clemente, even the Koufax. I'm trying to think of the other horizontal cards on the list, but it doesn't matter. Do them all vertical. That'd be cool to kind of flip it around. And other people are like, no, stay. So how do you juggle that? I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
Well, I'm still trying to figure it out, man. I think originally when I came in to this set and I was looking at everything, I was thinking, okay, I'm going to do it all the way that the original card was made, but I'm going to make some changes. So for example, on my Mattingly, I flipped it. So like we had the mug shot and then we had him out, in the field. And I flipped those images on the card. So we have like the big mug shot and the smaller picture in the field. I thought that was really fun, but still is like, pretty close to the original card. And I think that people thought it was pretty cool. It was the highest selling or highest print run Mattingly so far. But then I had, and it was because of a collector said, hey, you should do all your cards vertical because then I can put all of your cards next to each other and they're going to look great. Plus like, it's creative and like cool. And I was like, oh, that is a great idea. And like, I was sold. And that was like one collector and they're like, you should do this. And I'm like, yes, I'm going to do that. So I told him that. And then I had posted, on one of the forums, on Blowout forums telling someone I'm going to do mine vertical. And then some people got real mad and they're like, please don't do that. Because if you do that, I don't care. I'm not collecting all your cards. I'm collecting all the Clementes. And if I have to have 19 that are like this and then one that's like this, I'm going to be really pissed at you. And it's like kind of like, who cares? Be pissed at me. But also, like, you know, I really do want to like give the fans what they want. So I haven't decided the way that I'm going to do it yet. I mean, I've been putting a lot of stuff to the vote of the internet. So like, for example, okay. So the other night I painted live on my YouTube. Oh, I'm gonna flip these on.
There you go.
So I did 2 different versions of my Ricky, which is going to be my next card drop. And so now I just put these on the internet, and I'm like asking people, what do you think? And it's so funny because some people are like, please buy, you know, please do the green. I just can't, I wouldn't buy the yellow. And other people are saying the exact opposite. I'm just like, shit, man, I can't make everyone happy. And that is the life of an artist, though. So I don't know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do on the vertical thing.
I think you should do, and I think I told you this privately, but submit both to Topps and see if they'll release, or talk to Topps about saying, hey, I want to release a vertical and a horizontal version of this. They may completely shoot it down, but
I know. And so I proposed that to the guy that says, please, please, please don't mess up my Clemente set. And so I said, all right, well, what if we made the regular release is the horizontal version true to the card, and then like if I can convince Topps to do an insert where like 1 out of 100 gets a vertical version, and that's like the rare one, but also achievable, and like, you know, you can get it if you want a vertical set. And he's like, no, you can't do that because then the set's not 400 cards, it's 401. And then like, do the other artists get it? And what cards, like, what about the non-vertical cards? And they don't have inserts, like it's going to screw up my whole set. I'm just like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm trying to like please everyone, and
you can't win.
No, cannot win. But I mean, I'm used to that. Like, there's always somebody that hates what I'm doing, and if there's not, then I'm probably not like pushing the boundaries enough. I'm probably staying too vanilla. Like that first Nolan Ryan that I did probably would have been widely accepted, but not loved, or maybe in some cases hated, which I'm okay with.
You've got the Jackie behind you. Do you want to tell everybody kind of what's dropping tomorrow? Maybe a little.
I do. So as you guys know, Topps releases the card, the standard card, and then they have the AP, and that's an edition of 20, costs $99, and they're always sold out like so fast, so instantly. And those are just stamped on the back from Topps, 1 of 20. You know, and those ones have a silver frame. And so it was kind of motivated by a bunch of different things, but one of the reasons is I want to make like a special numbered card of my cards that's a little bit easier to get for the general public person than maybe some of these APs have gotten. And so what I decided to do is release artist autograph series. So I'm calling it an AA series instead of AP. And there are different numbers that are signed on the front of the card, and then they're numbered on the back of the card. And the editions range from 1 of 1, which is a gold, 1 of 5, which is silver. And then there's some special numbers. So for Jackie, it's a blue, Dodger blue, or Dem Bums blue, actually. And that's an edition of 42. And then a red ink, which is an edition of 99. And those are all priced kind of differently based on like how rare the set is. And so tomorrow on my website, which is proathleteportraits.com, and I'm not actually sure if I can type in the live comments. I can only see it.
Can I put the link here?
You can put in the whole link. Yeah, put in with the /Jackie.
I just did.
Okay, so in the comments, proathleteportraits.com/Jackie-Robinson.
And when this is like, I'll put a link down in the description also for that.
Perfect. And so right now it's actually password protected. So the password is DEM, DEM, space, bums, BUMS. You got to make sure to put the space. It's all lowercase. And so that's like the pre-sale. And so I've sent that to some friends and put it up in some private groups. And the cool thing is with these sets is like they're all numbered, and I do it in the order in which they were ordered. So like the first person to order a red card is going to get number 1 of 99. The second person is going to get a number 2. That's different than like on Topps. If you're ordering the 1 of 20s, I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's different, but you don't really know what you're getting. With me, you know exactly what you're getting. It's the order that they're numbered, and there's not very many sold right now because it's a pre-sale and it's password protected. So if anybody wants to pick one up, they're going to get definitely a low number.
I just did.
I know. I know you did. And I appreciate that. You have a great number.
I do.
Arguably the best number. But
you can tell him. I don't care.
Yeah. So he got number 42 of 99.
on the jacket.
That one on the Jackie, which is a great. I mean that one's so cool. I think that the number 1 of 42 is already sold. I have sold a couple. I think I've sold 8 of the blues, if I remember correctly. But like number 1 of 42 is also really sick. But anyways, there's a lot of good numbers left. Every single silver is left. So the silver, which is like the second tier, literally the next person to order it will get number 1 of 5, which is a cool, hopefully highly collectible thing. And so those silvers, like my my first card, the Nolans, those ones sold out the fastest. The silver ones did. And then on the Don Mattingly's, they all sold out. But I actually just today, I had one person ask to switch a silver Dawn for a different silver. And I told them that's fine because the card hadn't shipped. So there's one Dawn left as well. And that's just like proathleteportraits.com. That's where the rest of them are.
When could people expect those to ship if they're going to go order those? How quick do they
Sure. So it depends. So I'm basically, when I'm buying my own cards to sign, I'm doing it just like the rest of you guys are. So I'm ordering them at 1 p.m. the Monday that mine drop, or if I'm battling the website, then maybe 2 or 3 p.m. And then I get the same shipping notifications you guys do. So like I know that my Nolan Ryan started showing up to a lot of the fans. I've started to seeing like tags and people are holding the physical card, which is great. I haven't gotten my shipment of 70 is how many I ordered of those. And I'm signing all of those. And those are basically, all those autographs are basically sold. I put them on sale last week or maybe a week and a half ago. So those hopefully are going to ship. Let's see, today's Sunday, hopefully midweek. And then it's just going to depend, like as soon as I get my Mattingly cards in the mail, I'm going to sign them and I'm going to ship them out the next day. And that'll go for all of the cards. So like the lead time that you guys are going to get to like when I release the autos to when the autos ship is exactly equivalent plus 1 day to like the ship time to everyone else.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You've had some of the one-of-ones released through Topps as well, because they do the gold frame exclusives on there. Have you come across any of yours of someone sharing that they got one of yours since they're inserted randomly, or have you yet to see one?
So I have not yet. So the first card that I did was card 18, and that was the Nolan. And those literally like just started showing up to people in the last 2 or 3 days. So I think that like whoever has the gold probably just hasn't opened it yet. And like I said, like I have 70 cards coming. I hope so bad that I get my own 1 of 1. That would be so cool. And I don't know. I know one other guy who ordered 100 of my Nolans, and he sent me a message because he actually already did get them, and he opened up every single one. He said, "Man, I was really trying to get that 1 of 1, and I'm sorry that I didn't because I was just going to give it to you." So if he didn't get it, I think I have probably the next best shot because I have the next biggest order. And but who knows? Maybe somebody that just ordered 1 of them is going to get it in the mail, and then they're just going to like file it away and not open it necessarily, and then it'll just be like hanging in the garage.
There's a funny story in cardboard lore that there's a superfractor of Evan Longoria that's never surfaced ever, and because we think it's still in a pack somewhere or something. It's a famous kind of story in the cardboard world. But I'm getting my Nolan, my shipping notification. I should get mine tomorrow. And if I get the 1 of 1, I will give it to you as well.
If I don't get it, I hope you do.
And if I would love a silver, number to 20.
Yeah, me too, man. I put out I think we're in that same Facebook group, but I didn't get it. I didn't get a silver, so I'm gonna have to probably buy it on eBay, and it sucks to pay like $500 for a card that I made. And I had like there was 1 of them on eBay right now, and it was listed at like $585, and I sent in an offer for $250, and I put in a little note saying, I'm the artist, and like it would mean so much to me. Like, let me know. Like, I'll also give you some art. And they didn't say anything back. They just declined the offer. Like, no.
I just thought of another question I want to ask you. Did Topps give you any idea or indication of what they thought the print runs might be? Or was it just, we don't know, we've never done this before?
So the frame of, because I definitely asked that question, partially because like based on my contract, like I'm getting a small royalty on all the sales. So the bigger the print run, the more money, I'm pocketing. It's not going to make me rich, but it's it's really nice to have an income as an artist during everything that's going on right now. So when Topps was here for the studio filming the Nolan Ryan, I was trying to like get them to say it, get them to tell me what it was without sounding like, hey, how much money am I going to make? They gave me like a very vague, big range answer. They said, well, we've got a bunch of these, like, the limited run kind of print on demand for a certain period of time. And then we cut them off, with the living set or some of the other Topps Now, I think it's called. So they were like, well, we don't know what it's going to be, but we can tell you what the highest and the lowest print run of anything like that is. And I was like, okay, great. And so they said the lowest we've ever done on a very limited release like this is 200 cards. And then the most we've ever done is 20,000 cards. And that was like, they told me what it was, but it was one of the Topps Now things where like a player hit a grand slam to win some important game. And then the next day they released a card of that moment, and they sold it for 24 hours and they sold like 20,000 of them. So like that was the upper limit. Already, like with what we're seeing with the numbers on Project 2020, I think we're going to see cards break 20,000. And there's probably going to be a Trout or a Jeter or a Griffey, but we'll see. It's probably going to be mine, but we'll see.
I'm going to have to get your Trout, by the way. I'm excited to see what your Trout's going to
so cool. This game is so cool.
So, okay, man, this is awesome. Tell me, or not, don't tell just me, tell everybody else that's watching, but what, you grew up in California, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Marin County, north of San Francisco.
Okay. So you were a huge baseball fan as a kid.
Yep.
And I've seen a picture of you, by the way, as a 4-year-old at Candlestick Park or something, I think it was, or where
that one was in spring training in Sarasota, Florida for the Texas Rangers.
Yes.
Yeah. Nice. There you go.
And
same colors.
So you grew up a baseball fan.
Yeah.
You stepped away for a long time as an adult, and now you're kind of getting back into it, and you've jumped right in. And what's cool for me, and I'm sure JT feels the same way, he can speak for himself in a minute, but how you've just embraced the card community. You've joined Blowout forums, you're active there, you're doing all kinds of stuff on YouTube geared towards the community, not just the art world, which
right.
you've been a part of. You're really going, look, what can I do to get these guys on board with what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that has endeared you to a lot of people. Eric, of course,
yeah,
most endeared. Those back pages is the biggest fan, I think, and he got us thinking about it, right, JT? I mean,
he did. I still remember it was when I believe the Ermsey Trout came out. Eric and I had a pretty lengthy phone call where we first discussed, which artists do you like, which ones are you looking to pick up, which cards do you want to go after, and it's really cool to see your interaction. And I imagine when you were collecting back when you were younger, I mean, there wasn't Blowout forums, there wasn't what we're doing here or anything. Has it surprised you how far of a reach the card community, quote unquote, is now?
Yeah, I mean, and that's a great question. And so, like, the way that like it's so wild is I remember as a kid, you hear about, the different sets and then, the rare inserts or relics or parallels or whatever. And as a kid, I would never get to see the card unless I was like flipping through a magazine. Sometimes I'd see it in a Beckett or whatever, but also like going to the actual card store and peeking over the glass and seeing like what they have available and what's there was like a really cool and fun experience. But it also meant that like my circle of like what I got to experience as a card collector was like just limited to like the one card store that I spent time at. And now with the internet, like, for example, the Ermsey Trout, actually, to come full circle back to that, like that gold 1/1 got pulled, and then Twins Jake tweeted it, and like we all got to see it like the same day he pulled it. That's incredible. It's a 1/1 card. There's only one in existence in the whole world, and like we can all kind of enjoy it, kind of from afar, with just a photo. But now, like the video and stuff, like people could be showing you the card and all the textures, of a relic card or whatever. So that's like. It's just a crazy world. And also like, I think that the card community is bigger than people that are not in the card community don't realize how big the card community is. There might be a lot of like closet collectors is probably the wrong word, but like people that just kind of collect and they just do their thing. And like they have maybe, their friends, in the neighborhood, just a couple friends that understand that hobby as a kid. But now, like with the internet, you go on somewhere like Blow Up Forums and all of a sudden you're connected with like thousands of people that share the same love that you do. And, hundreds of them that also idolize the same player or follow the same team or like share those interests. And that was just like, it was never a possibility to have like so many opportunities to like find your circle. So that's like, it's just magic. It's awesome.
Yeah. The connectivity that it allows for is on a whole different level. I'm primarily a YouTube guy, although I have an Instagram and a Facebook and I'm on Blowout and stuff like that. But I've gravitated toward this medium. There are so many guys that like Instagram's way bigger than YouTube is, way bigger than the forums are in terms of the card community. It's gigantic there. And then you see all those communities come together at an event like the National, which are you going to go? Would you go to the National?
Absolutely. I'm there. I'll have a booth.
Well, it's got to happen. I don't know if the National's happening yet.
As long as it happens, I'll have a booth. Absolutely.
It is.
So I see, sorry to interrupt. I see Canadian Cards asked a question in the comments. I just want to chime in just so that people are getting perfect. Yeah. Okay. So it says, Blake has done a painting for John Tavares of the Leafs. Did he paint it due to his lacrosse connection? Uncle's lacrosse player, as Blake is a former lacrosse player. Awesome question. I guess the short answer is yes. I was introduced through his Uncle John, and I did paintings for both of them. And they were both, there's an lacrosse alumni association that the Uncle John is associated with. And they were doing this event. It was a charity event and it was like a roast of John, the older John. And so they did this roast and a friend of John's had commissioned me to paint a picture of him. And then he's like, oh, also you could break into hockey as well. Which is something that had been looking to do. And so he said, well, why don't we do 3 paintings? So I actually did 3 paintings for them. I did one of each John, and then I did one of them together with, I think the younger John's daughter. I'm not sure who, like one of the kids. Anyways, that's how I met them. And it was through a lacrosse connection. Like it was a lacrosse friend of mine who was on the alumni association that was hosting a roast of the old John. And he's the one that commissioned it for the Johns. Hopefully that explains it.
His name is Mike, by the way. Great guy, Canadian Card.
I think I've seen him on Twitter as well.
So I want to finish out kind of the card thing because then this show is called Beyond Cardboard, so we got to go beyond the cardboard stuff. But in terms of what card are you looking forward most to painting? Like, or have you done it already? Like, what do you think about that?
Well, I think the McGuire we talked about earlier is probably the one I'm most excited about because I grew up idolizing him and I'm getting to like, I feel like I found a fun way to incorporate the card that I grew up like having as that prized possession. So I think as artistically, that one's the most that I'm excited about. Business-wise, I mean,
Trout and Peter, right?
Peter, Griffey, I'm going to crush those. And I think the print runs are doing really well, obviously, on those cards. We're seeing like a lot of different reasons for different print runs. I think player is probably the number one driving factor. Artist, I think, has something to do with it. There's some artists that we're seeing is consistently doing well. And then there's also like different timing elements. So like the Jackie Robinson that I did was card number 42. That was like a fun timing thing. I like to think that helped the print run. Although that also got, in terms of timing, it got released the same day that Bowman First Edition did. And so, the site had its own heavy load from that, which could have impacted it in the other direction. So there's all these different factors that play. And, I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a businessman and I want to sell as many cards as I possibly can. And that's definitely not the only reason that I'm doing this. But by doing that, it lets me continue to like follow my dreams and do the things that I love to do, which is making art. So I want to sell as many cards as possible. So I'm excited to paint Trout, partially for that reason, and doing like a living player, because a lot of like most of the players that I'm painting now outside of Project 2020, the NFL guys that I'm painting, it's a lot of current players. That's mostly my market. And so like doing the current like generational player, generational talent of baseball is like a huge honor anyways. So that's like cool artistically. And yeah, so I guess Trout and McGuire are my two ones that I'm looking forward to the most.
We got a couple of cool questions. I'll put them up here. Do you think the whole Topps project thing has gotten you more attention as an artist?
Yes, so much. And more than I could have even hoped. It sucks, the whole situation with everyone being stuck at home and a lot of people being out of work and having all this uncertainty of when things are going to go back to normal and when we can start giving high fives and hugs again is it's a like scary and depressing thing for a lot of people. And I didn't know how that was going to affect the Topps project. I think that because of that, people are sitting at home and they're looking forward to things like 1 p.m. Monday through Friday to go to the Topps site and see the art that's coming out. Much smaller segment of that, but like some people are excited about every night at 10:23 p.m. I live stream here from my studio. And so like it's giving people something to look forward to. And like even like that live stream, like I literally made it and set the schedule and just announced it, just said, this is what I'm going to do because I wanted something to look forward to every single day. So it definitely has taken my art to a larger audience. And it's done it like both ways, where card collectors now are talking to me about commissioning one-of-one paintings of their favorite athlete or of whatever they want. So it's bringing me art business. And then also like my art collectors who already were supporting my art and following my artist journey are telling me, yo, man, that's so cool you're working with Topps. I bought my first baseball card in like 20 years, and now I'm busting out the binders from the closet, or from the attic or whatever. And like, it's so fun to like go back and get, live all these memories. So like, it's working like, it's going in both directions. And it's like been so good for me as an artist and for the audience, and connecting with fans is so cool.
You mentioned your weeknight live stream, which is every night at 10:23 Eastern is why you do that. I know why you do it. Do you want to tell everybody else why 10:23, like why 10:23?
Yeah. So there's a couple reasons. This also ties into the whole COVID situation that we're in right now. A lot more creatives, whether it's artists, could be DJs, musicians, Instagram influencers. You see so many people doing live streams now, and a lot of them are all doing them at the same time. So, and it's like the happy hour kind of after work thing. And like, it's like an insanely crowded atmosphere there. So I didn't want to compete with that. 23 is my favorite number, partially because of Michael Jordan. I grew up idolizing him as well as some other players, but like it was my number in lacrosse, and I've just always liked that number. It's not just because of Michael Jordan. And so that's why I kind of incorporated 23. And then also for like, going back to like the marketing mindset and the marketing kind of thought process is, if you tell someone to show up at 10 o'clock, they might forget and be like, oh, maybe it was 11, or maybe like there's not anything like there's nothing special about that time. And it's easier to forget, I think. But when it's a specific time where it's like every night, 10:23, I'll be right here, people are, I think, more likely to remember that actual time. And then it's also like kind of irrelevant because like when I'm streaming for a long time, usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. And every night is different. Sometimes I'm painting, sometimes I'm cutting a stencil, sometimes I'm doing a Q&A. And so like, since it's so long, the start time doesn't really matter because people just know like, oh, it's like after 10 or after 10:30 or whatever, I can tune in and Blake's going to be live, and I will be in. That's been fun. So tonight, what we're doing on the live stream is also another secret. No one else knows this is, I'm going to make a prototype of a relic card, and it's going to be like, so I have these like painty pants that I paint in.
Yeah.
Now you have like the jerseys, and you get like the cutout, the jersey, and you see like the corner of their number, or you see some part of the H in their name or whatever. I don't know if I'm going to do it with my pants or do it with something, but I want to make a prototype of a relic card where I'm using like the head of a paintbrush or a piece of my paint pants, and I'm going to like just paint around the outside. And it's like, it's separate from Topps, But my goal is to like make a cool ass relic and then go to Topps and say, here, look at this prototype that I made. Let's release some relic cards around each of the other cards that I did. So like, I would love to launch it with my next card, which is Ricky Henderson, and have Ricky relics. And it'd be like the paintbrush that was used to paint Ricky. And then it's like in a relic card, and there's a very, very limited number. You know, maybe it'd be a 1 of 1, or maybe it would be under 10. I don't know. But like the goal would be to have Topps like sign off on that and produce it, because they're obviously very good at making cards and can do the relics. But like, I just want to show them, take the initiative and make like a prototype of a relic card, so that when I go to them in the next coming weeks, I have something to show them. And I have like a bunch of people on YouTube that are like excited and typing like, I can't wait to get my relic. And then I'll literally like print out those comments and I'll take it to Topps with the relic and say like, there's a market for this and it doesn't cost you anything. I have my paintbrushes. You guys can make cards. Like, let's print some money, which I don't know, would help me, and it would be like a super fun, cool thing. So that's what we're doing tonight.
Very creative. We got a question from Foo3112, is normally in the chair that JT is in tonight. So Mark was nice enough to give up his chair tonight. But Blake, where did you get that sweet shirt at?
Okay, this is also great. Okay, so it's like it's a Marilyn Monroe gangster holding a giant diamond, like Ben Baller kind of would be proud. I got this where I buy like a lot of my clothes, which is Ross. That's like my secret weapon for my wardrobe. It was funny. I was telling my friend that how I was gonna, one of my master plans is to take these pants that I now have like paint all over and cut them up into tiny squares and then be selling those squares for like, you know, hundreds of dollars. And then I was like, yeah. And I paid like $20 for these pants at Ross. And she was like, oh my God, you have to get in contact with Ross and have them like sponsor you, because like I wear like all Ross stuff. So anyways, the shirt was from Ross. It's like treasure hunting. I guess it's like my collector roots of like, you know, digging through and trying to like pull something fun. Same thing at Ross. Like everything is 1 of 1, and you just got to try and find those awesome finds. And so that's where the shirt's from.
We got another question here.
Yep.
We're just gonna do this, man. Let's just roll with this.
Yeah.
I have a normal format that I go through.
Yeah.
Out the window.
Questions are great.
Because this is too much fun. Blake, I also see that you also sell puzzles on your site. Can you explain how those are created?
Sure. So, and I sell them. So I have a separate site where I sell puzzles, which is blakespuzzles.com. I also sell some on just my regular website of blakejamieson.com. But that was created because I saw, I think it was actually King Saladin, which is funny because he's a Project 2020 artist too. But when all this COVID stuff kicked off, he had posted a picture on Instagram of taking some of his artwork, and it was printed on a puzzle, and it was just like it was like a fun thing that he made for himself. And then I started like, also, as you guys have probably seen, like puzzles are blowing up right now. It's a really popular thing to do. And I have this like giant archive of work that I've created. And like I said, they were all 1 of 1s, and like, I'm not going to make the painting again, but with some of them, not with all of them, but with some of them, depending on the piece, like I was like, well, I could take that and I could print it on a puzzle, and I could sell that. I'm an entrepreneur. I need to figure out ways to make money, because the truth is, before this Topps thing, people were not spending, they're not spending thousands of dollars on a painting right now. My clientele are a bunch of athletes, and they're unemployed like the rest of us for the time being. So puzzles was like, for me, like trying to figure out, okay, well, I got to figure my way through this, and let's try this. It's actually been going very, very well. It's super popular. Let me grab one.
You having fun, JT?
I'm having a blast.
So this is like one, because I order a lot for myself, but it's just like, ooh, well, there we go. So it's blakespuzzles.com. This is Basquiat, which is like my favorite artist of all time. My tattoo on my hand is his crown. This is like, he drew that. But yeah, it's fun. So I have like puzzles in all different sizes, all different pieces, as low as like 100 pieces for kids, and then up to this is 1,000, but 2,000 pieces for like very patient adults. It takes like a long, even to make this 1,000-piece puzzle, because a lot of my work, like, I don't know, it's not like a photograph where you can tell like this is going to line up with this. It's like a lot of splatter paint, and like it's a very abstract texture that you're like, really, it's surprisingly hard to find the right matching pieces, but super fun.
I'm a puzzle guy, so I got to go get me some of those.
Yeah. Question for you on your artwork. I know you mentioned this in a stream one time where you feel that maybe sometimes you've added a little bit too much to a piece, or maybe that might be the case in one of your puzzles as well. Do you ever have that moment where you say this is really good, or you're amazed by your own work, where you're, you know, this is going to be a good one here, or is it just kind of everyday thing for you now?
Yeah, no, I have those like aha moments where I'm like, yes, I got, like, this is exactly what I kind of pictured when I started this project. And that does happen more often than not now that like I've done it so many times. So it's also like, I'll be painting. I like to paint late at night. And that's another thing about the 1023 live streams is like 10 p.m. is usually when I start actually doing my creative work. During the day, I'm doing my office tasks. So like I'll paint late at night, and I'll paint for like 4 to 6 hours. And so it'll be, you know, it could be 3 a.m, and I'll think that an idea is great, but like the test is to sleep on it. And if I wake, you know, I sleep on it and I wake up, and sometimes like I go to sleep being like, I'm brilliant and I made a masterpiece. And then I wake up and I'm like, no, I think I was just tired or drunk, or like, you know, like whatever, like I didn't hit it. So it's the balance of both of those things. I also like, I think it's pretty easy to overdo a painting. And so when I get to a painting that I don't have to think it's a masterpiece, but if I think it's good, I will stop and I will sleep on it, and I'll see it the next day. And then sometimes I see it the next day and I'm like, that's it, that's done. Or I can always add more paint. I can't take paint off. So that's kind of the process.
And we just talked about your website. Your YouTube channel is just your name as well. Yep. So people can check you out there. I mean, you slammed over 1,000 subscribers. Like, bam, you're doing great there, which is really cool, by the way. We got a question from Reindeer Studios. His name's Scott. He's also an artist. He does a lot of doodles and stuff, and just amazingly talented guy. And do you know what a TTM is?
I don't. I was going to ask for clarity on that, but yes, okay. Doodle me.
So TTM is through the mail autograph. So TTM through the. So he wants to send you a doodle that he will create for you to sign and send back to him, or keep. Can't remember how Scott does it, but do you have a PO box that he can send that to?
Yeah, I do. I have a. I don't know what the best way to.
They can write it down, or you can comment if you want down below.
Okay. For some reason on the live comments, I don't know how, it doesn't look like I can type. I can type in the private chat, but in the live comments, I can only view.
If you
and I don't know.
I'll type it as you say it. And can you type chat in the chat, JT?
No, it's only on YouTube that you can do that.
Okay.
Oh, got it. Okay, well, I could go over to YouTube. Anyways, okay. So Blake Jamieson.
Yep.
4628.
Oh, this is an actual address.
Vernon, Vernon.
4628 Vernon.
Yep, Boulevard.
Man, you're a brave soul giving out.
No, I got it. Don't worry. It's Suite 203. It's a UPS store.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, but you get a street address with those.
Suite 203. I'm putting it in multiple comments because it's screwed up. Okay,
Suite 203. That's Long Island City, New York, 11101.
11101.
That's right.
Okay.
And so that's where people can send me whatever. It's a UPS store mailbox. It's like that way, less than a mile. So it's always nice. Just I check my mail all the time. They give me package notifications. They sign for anything I need. So I'm also, and worth noting for people here, like anybody that buys my cards from the Topps website, not even like separate from like buying my limited numbered autos, I will just autograph for free in black, unnumbered. All you got to do is just cover the shipping to and from. So like if you send, I've got a bunch of people that are sending me cards to that address. I'm going to assign them in black, put them in the return envelope that you're sending with it. I'll ship it back to you. That's totally free too.
Is it 4628 or 4268?
4628.
Okay, good. I put it on there correct. That's good. All right, so I'm going to ask you some beyond cardboard questions right now. Unless JT, you have something else you want to ask, or are you good?
No, this is my favorite part of the segment, so let's hear it.
So the first two obvious questions we've already answered. Like one of them's, what do you do for a living? Oh, you play tiddlywinks professionally, right? Yeah.
Right.
So are you married? Do you have any kids? Anything like that?
Not married, no kids.
Okay.
Building an empire.
You're gonna get married, have kids, maybe? What are you gonna do with
Someday?
Someday. All right. When you were younger, I think you played lacrosse. You've talked about that. You played baseball. Did you play any other sports when you were a kid?
I played soccer. So I went to baseball games from like the age of 2. And so like I kind of grew up on that. I played t-ball, and then I played some baseball. And then I decided that it just wasn't fast enough pace for like my little ADD brain. So then I went and I switched over. I started playing soccer. So like all through high school, I played soccer, wrestling, and lacrosse were my 3 sports. And then in college, I played lacrosse. Yeah.
Nice.
So a little bit of
I'm going to throw in a question from an audience member. This is Sean from Stealing Second. Another great guy. See all these people?
It's awesome.
Because you don't follow a whole lot of people on YouTube, probably because you just don't have time. I mean, good grief, you can sit there and watch YouTube videos all day. Hopefully, you at least subscribe to Eric, those back pages.
I do, and I watch his videos. I keep telling him he's got like his voice. So I listen to audiobooks while I paint, and the narrator is so important that I would just love to have an audiobook narrated by Eric.
Right?
I'm trying to encourage him to do that. It's so
we
cool.
all feel the same way, I promise. If I see an Eric video, I'm like,
it's great.
Fall asleep to
I'll answer that. Stealing Second.
But
so no classic training at all. It's funny because I grew up like always loving making art. I was painting and drawing before I was doing anything else. And then I got it really into photography in high school. And so when I went to college, my parents are also very creative and like encouraging for like the creative world. So like I was the one saying, art's not a real career path. I can't go to art school. Like that's not going to pay my bills. I'm going to study economics and do business. And my parents were like, oh, you should at least minor in art, or you should check out these art schools. And I was like very resistant to that. And then it's funny, like now, like it's full circle that I'm like, yeah, maybe they were right. But I don't regret anything. Like I think that I got a very well-rounded education, and then the experience that I have in the marketing world, while everyone else classically trained was going to art school or studying art underneath a mentor or something, I was like learning digital marketing. And now that's like paying off really well. We're like, I think in the Tops 2020 project, of all the 20 artists, I'm a competitive person. I don't think that I'm the best artist, but I think I'm the best marketer. And to be honest, like in the art world, to succeed professionally, it's not about how well you paint. It's about how well you build your brand and how well you market yourself. So like, I don't know, I think I'm going to win for those reasons.
When you were young, how did you manage being in school, playing all those sports, and then keeping art? I'm sure you took a lot of art classes in high school, maybe even when you were younger as well. How do you keep time for all those activities all at once?
I took some art classes, like some electives, but not as many as I should have, to be honest. I think I was extremely straight edged in high school. I thought like I wanted to be like a professional athlete, or I wanted to like go to college with a sports scholarship. And so I didn't go out and party. I didn't do any, like a lot of the social activities that a lot of kids spend a lot of time on. It was like grades were super important to me. Like I had like a 4.2 in high school weighted, and then college that totally fell apart and it was a totally different story. But like that was like grades were super important because I was like, okay, I need to be really good at sports and I need to be really good at school, because if I can combine those two things, then that means that I can go to college and get a sports scholarship, and then I can play some professional sports or whatever. So I didn't do as much art like through like high school as maybe I wish I did. But like I said, like no regrets. I think that I got a very well-rounded experience.
Quick card question from Mark here. when you were a kid, how did you store your collection? And do you, I know where your cards are today. Maybe you want to tell that story, because I heard you tell the story. And where are they? And are you going to get them back?
Yep. So we have, I'm definitely getting them back. I have them back. So my dad and I grew up collecting together because we were basically like, we were collecting before I understood what collecting was. And then I grew into it, and then it was like a hobby that we shared. And so we had every single set from 1985 to 1995, which is obviously a very heavily printed era of card collecting, and everyone has those cards. But there's also a lot of like really cool cards in there. So we have like those complete sets that we would keep like factory sealed in a complete set box, and then we'd have those within boxes and have them in the garage or in his office or whatever. And then he would give me some cards to like open and play with and like, you know, carry around in my pocket, like the Mark McGuire card. And those ended up in like other boxes that are just kind of like mixed bag boxes. And those ones are the ones with all the ding corners and stuff. And then we had some cards where we take out and we send in to get PSA graded. And so we have like a small collection of graded cards. And fortunately, those have survived the last 35 years. When we've, you know, my family's moved a couple times, and my mom has never thrown them away. So we have like big boxes that are full of, you know, these size boxes. And I think if I did my math right, I think we have about 70,000 cards total. And a lot of them are still sealed in, you know, we've got Don Russ and obviously a ton of Tops and Upper Deck and pretty much every set for baseball from those years. And so now, like, I was just talking to him the other day and said, you know, there might be some good cards that we might want to open those up and send in to get graded. So we'll see.
How steep has your learning curve been jumping back into the hobby with all of this? I mean, good grief, all the terminology and the lingo, and the hobby's changed since the mid 80s, 90s.
Sure. Yeah.
Has it just been like, holy crap, there's a lot to learn?
There is a lot to learn. And I think like the hardest thing for me too is that, you know, like I mentioned before, like I played a lot of sports, but I didn't play baseball. And so I followed baseball religiously as a kid. And then at the time when like the San Francisco Giants had their like dynasty, I was actually living in San Francisco at the time. So I was going to a lot of Giants games, and that was really fun. So like, you know, Buster Posey's and whatever, like those guys are awesome and I know who they are. But like outside of that, like I think the toughest part is like there's so many baseball players. There's a lot, you know, there's a lot of teams and there's a lot of people on every roster. And so like starting to know who the guys are to look out for, the prospects or anything like that, that's been really challenging. I think the card trading terminology is fine. It's for me, it's like player knowledge, because I didn't really follow baseball. And also like, it's not like if baseball was on right now, I would be having it. I would put it on and I would get to know the players and the teams currently, because like I did that for foot. I also never played football, but I got introduced to the football guy that plugged me into his world. And I was like, okay, well, it's going to be important that I know what's going on. So like I watch a ton of football during football season, and I'm keeping up with the trades. And now like, you know, I'm keeping up a little bit with the draft, but it's like, it's really tough with sports not going on that like, I don't know. I don't want to just go and watch a bunch of reruns of baseball games. I know that some people do that, but like, I don't know. So that's been the hardest part, is the player knowledge.
I was watching you open your 2020 Topps Heritage.
Oh, and I was butchering all the names.
You were happy. It was entertaining. I'll give you that.
That's good.
But you don't know till you know. I mean,
I know.
It's hard to bust people's chops about stuff when if you were claiming to be some baseball savant and you're butchering, then I give you crap for it. But you're trying to learn, and you're making a concerted effort towards that. And I just
because it lives forever on YouTube, right? So like over the next year, I ordered my next box. I'm going to do a 2020 Series 1, the jumbo hobby box with like 460 cards and 3 autos and 5 relics. And that would be awesome. Yeah, that's the one. And I'm going to butcher a bunch more names, but I'm going to get a couple more right. It's also tough in that situation where like it's not a two-way conversation like this is. People are just typing comments, and then, you know, they're watching me and I'm saying the names, and then they're just like, you said it wrong. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't help me learn how to say it better. So
I think you should have Eric on with you, like do a duel, and he can help you with, he can teach you, because he is the cardboard oracle, and he can teach you some things. And again,
I love that idea.
Learn, man. You got to learn. So
yeah.
Okay, so man, we're running into the last dance. So the viewers,
sure, yeah, of course.
But I'm going to ask, before I get to my favorite segment, which I know JT knows what that is. Do you have any other questions, JT, that you want to ask him?
No, I'm ready for some rapid fire if you are.
Rapid fire. Are you ready for rapid fire? This is my favorite part. So I'm going to just ask you some random questions, Blake. Your job is to answer as quick as you can. There are no wrong answers unless I tell you that they're wrong. And other than that, you are, I just want to hear your answers. So here we go, a little rapid fire.
Okay.
What is your favorite pizza topping?
Pepperonis.
Great.
And mushrooms. I love mushrooms too.
Okay. Favorite ice cream flavor?
Mint chocolate chip.
Most of these are food related, by the way, so that might tell you where my interest lies outside of
yeah.
When you eat a hot dog, do you use mustard or ketchup?
Ketchup.
That's wrong. Wrong answer, but that's okay.
Work out too if it's available.
When you drink coffee, do you use creamer or you just drink it black?
Black.
What is your favorite beer?
Oh man, that's tough. Black Lion by a brewery called Lev. It's a Czech beer.
But that is not what you are drinking tonight.
No, it's not. I was drinking Modelo. This is my favorite local, like, this is not local beer, but this is like the beer that I buy locally. Yes. The Lev stuff, it's a very specialty beer that like is only available at certain places.
But that's the favorite beer that you can actually go buy at a store next to you. There you go.
Yeah. It's my favorite locally purchased beer.
There you go. What is your middle name?
Loftus.
Okay. Like Loftus?
That's right.
Nice. Where did that come from? Is that a family name?
Mother's maiden name, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my grandpa Lloyd Loftus he's the man.
Are you a good dancer?
If I have enough Modelo's.
Aren't we all?
Yeah.
What was your first car?
1992 Volvo station wagon 740.
Oh, I bet you got a lot of chicks with that.
It was great. I love that car. Hank the Tank. Kind of like old school Hank the Tank, but
Hank, you mean Frank the Tank?
Well, I named my car Hank the Tank.
Oh, gotcha.
Like kind of after Frank the Tank. I don't know why.
I gotcha.
Yeah, exactly. But it was Hank. My car. I don't know why I named my car Hank, but it just became Hank the Tank.
What kind of car do you drive now? If you drive, you're in New York, so you may not drive. But
yeah, I don't have a car, but my goal actually very soon, when all this stuff blows over, is I want to buy a Mercedes Sprinter van and have like a mobile studio and do like a cross country trip where actually it's fun because I lived in Florida for a time and then we moved to California and my dad and I drove across the country and we stopped and we went to different baseball stadiums. And I kind of want to do the reverse, now go from New York back and see my family in California and stop at some baseball games, stop and do some art shows. That's, yeah.
That sounds awesome.
Yep.
Very, very cool. Do you prefer beer or liquor? Which one do you like better?
I think beer. I guess beer. I like whiskey. My last name's Jamieson, so I drink Jamieson and I enjoy it. But like in terms of painting, like that's the type of thing where like if I'm drinking liquor and I'm painting, that's when like I think I made a masterpiece and then I wake up the next day and I'm like, oh crap. Beer's like it's slow enough that like I'm not getting totally tossed and like I can work and whatever.
What's your favorite candy bar?
And I'm not huge on sweets. I guess Reese's, like Reese's peanut butter cups. I do like peanut butter kind of stuff, but I really don't do a lot of sweets.
Favorite breakfast cereal?
Also not a huge breakfast guy. Okay, this is gonna be a weird one, but I grew up and it also is like my mom grew up giving us grape nuts, and I love grape nuts.
I used to eat grape nuts all the time.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with that.
But grape nuts,
I don't eat it a lot, but I like it. The crunch is great.
Yeah. It soaks up.
Fast before it gets soggy. I like to eat it fast.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Because we don't have any milk left. But what about your favorite soda? If you're not into sweets, you may not drink soda.
Yeah, I don't really drink soda either. I'm trying to even think like the last time I had a soda.
You just drink Modelo.
I just drink Modelo or water or coffee. Those are like the three things. That's pretty much it.
That'll get you through the day.
It does. It, sir. You know, you got something for everything.
That's right.
Yeah.
What is your favorite board game?
Chutes and Ladders.
Favorite video game?
Bubble Bobble.
What?
So it was like a Nintendo. Was it on Nintendo or Sega? It's like OG, like a very, very old video game. It's like Pac-Man.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never heard of it.
It's on a few consoles, but it's amazing. It's called Bubble Bobble, and it's fucking great.
I guess I'm gonna have to find it.
Yeah.
Favorite movie franchise?
Man, franchise throws a wrench in my plans. Oh no, actually, oh God, what's it called? Despicable Me, or Lego Movie. Either of those tied.
Oh.
You're like a little child.
Yes.
Okay. That doesn't eat sweets. So
I'm a weird child.
Like everything is awesome when you're part of a team.
That's right. I love that.
What's your favorite movie then? If I throw you off with franchise.
Well, I would actually probably say Despicable Me is right up there. But in terms of like movies with real people, Limitless is definitely up there. Crazy Stupid Love. The Graduate, which is a little bit more of a throwback. Go with those. But really, like animated movies are pretty much
my favorite animated movie ever is The Incredibles. That was my favorite.
That was a good one.
Love that one.
Yeah.
What is your favorite sport to play?
Wrestling. I miss wrestling the most. I mean, I love playing all sports. It's hard for me sometimes to watch sports because I'm like, crap, I want to play. I want to just go play. But obviously, like I know my body's limits now, and I'm beyond my peak athletically. So I'll let other people that are really good, watch them. But wrestling was so cool as a sport because it wasn't. It was all on you. You win, it's you. If you lose, it's you. There's no excuses, and it's regulated by like weight class. So it's not even like in soccer, and then you're playing against a team where like everyone's like 20 pounds, 2 feet taller than you and 50 pounds bigger than you. It's like literally same size dudes, same weight, going at it. I like that.
What's your favorite sport to watch?
I actually really like wrestling too. I like watching a lot of NCAA stuff and Olympic stuff. But in terms of like a more, mainstream sport, I guess football is fun. And that's probably because I've watched so much of it, in being in that business. I didn't really watch football before I painted football players. And now I'm pretty like familiar with all the teams, and I have like a lot of players, and also like a lot of players are my friends now. So like literally like watching people play on TV of like that we're here at my art studio picking up a painting is like so sick. So like there's a lot of reasons that go into like why I like watching football that have nothing to do with the sport itself, but my kind of involvement.
We're gonna have to have you back just to talk about some of those stories. That just sounds like it'd be fun to talk about. And don't you think, JT, that'd be a good idea?
I think we could do several episodes on that.
Yeah.
Last rapid fire question. What was the last movie that you cried at?
Oh man. God, that's a really good question.
Rapid fire.
No, it's not right. I just can't. I don't know, man. And I'm not like, I'm a sensitive dude. I cry during movies, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I just can't actually remember the last one that I did. I don't know. I also just don't go to the movies that much. It's not a show, but here's like an example. What's that show? Oh, it's so popular with Mandy Moore The husband's name's Jack. The house burns down. Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Seventh Heaven? No,
No, it's not Seventh Heaven.
I don't know.
What the
Not
fuck?
one I've watched.
Somebody in the comments is going to know what it is.
Somebody will put it down there.
Oh my God, somebody's got to put it in there, or I got to fucking Google it.
As an example, not the Fox and the Hound.
This is us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Us. I definitely cried during some of those episodes, but I mean, shit, I haven't watched that for over a year, so I don't know. I'm sure that probably happens, and I just don't remember it. Just blocking it out.
What's your favorite baseball movie?
Oh God, that's a good question. Field of Dreams.
Good one.
Yeah.
Go with that. So,
And Stand
dude, I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks so much for being here and taking so much time to just talk about. Well, you get to talk about you. That's always fun. And
Yeah.
everybody, go check out. If you haven't watched this whole video, if you just came in, you need to go watch it from the beginning because Blake dropped some cool nuggets. I would call you Drake. I make a drop and Blake.
But there's a rapid fire. Who's my favorite rapper? It would be Drake.
So Blake dropped some cool stuff for you guys to go check out. Check out his website. He's having some exclusive cards that he's going to be selling. You can go look at those. Some cool artists. We're not calling them artist prints. We're calling them
Artist autographs.
Artist autographs. That's right. And I'm excited to have one coming to me once he gets the jackies in.
That's right.
And, I did pay for it, so I don't think. I mean, come on.
You sure did, but you got a sick number.
I did.
It's a really good one. It's going to be. I can't wait for you to get it.
I'm excited because I'll do a whole video about it. I promise. But go check him out on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Just go all things Blake Jamieson. Check him out. And I guess you guys can go watch The Last Dance now. You two guys stay with me for a minute. Thanks everybody for being on tonight or for coming and watching. JT, thanks man for helping.
Thank you for having me. Thanks to Blake for coming on as well. I think a lot of people really enjoyed it. I know I did.
Of course. It's glad to be here. It's great.
Blake,
it's been a Sunday night.
You're a good dude. I don't care what Eric says about you. And
yeah, appreciate that. Somebody's got to stand up for me.
We'll catch you guys later. And as always, what do I say, JT?
Keep collecting.
Keep collecting. See you guys later.